the record got done, recorded, mixed, mastered, and we listened back to it, we figured, there's something about this record that's different than the others,
Mm.
and we're like, and let's just try something different. So, we reached out to, Bob Tyrell is a good friend of ours, and we reached out to him and goes, you know what, this is what we're thinking, this is what the album kind of sounds like, and this is what we're feeling. Could you draw something up? And he kind of did it and came back to us, and we were stoked about, the Death Moth. So it kind of like fits the whole vibe of the record, which is kind of hard to explain because you got to listen to it, because everyone has their own interpretations of what the record means to them. But when you listen to it and you look at the album cover, then you'll get it.
Totally.
Yeah.
No, that makes a lot of sense. And I feel like oftentimes when bands will promote their new album, it's always like people will go, oh, well, yeah, it's, if you're a fan of our first album, then you're going to like this, or, oh, it's the best one we've had yet. And I don't know, I feel like it's these very generic phrases that people use to draw people in. But from what I've heard, you guys talking about the new album, it seems that you're really stoked about it as a product, but not only that, but as fans. And it seems like you worked really hard to be able to pull this off.
Yeah, I'm totally there with you. I've got, doing quite a few interviews. People ask, and not only doing quite a few interviews, but reading a lot of interviews with other bands and our peers, because I do follow a lot of our, peers and some of my favorite bands. It's a generic question. How does it sound like? Oh, whoa, it's the heaviest thing we ever done. It's the best thing we ever done. It's this and that. It's a pretty standard question. I get it because they're excited and it's new material. And you're always going to get excited about your new material, but the way I look at it, it's just, you just have to listen to it. It's basically Death Angel today, where our mindset is today. It's like people ask, well, is it like The Dream? I go, is it like the other records? Well, you're going to have all the other records bleed into it because it's Death Angel. We can't help but be influenced by our own music too. But it's just where our headset is our mind, our headspace is today. It's still, people ask, well, is it heavy? Is it that? It's always going to be heavy in a Death Angel fashion, whether it's thrash heavy, rock heavy, even acoustic heavy. It's all going to be there, but I'm not going to give the same old textbook thing. I just want people to just listen to it at this point.
That's a perfect explanation, man.
Yeah.
And you guys recently released a live album, The Bay Calls for Blood. Can you talk to me about any hurdles that went into crafting a live album?
Oh, man. Just there's a lot of hurdles, really. One, first and foremost, we wanted to do one in our hometown because it's San Francisco. It's where we all started,
Mm-hmm.
And, there was one unofficial live album, which is Fall from Grace, and there's the other one, Sonic German Beatdown. But this one we wanted to do at home. And, the hurdles of, miking the amps, making sure everything sounds right. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
All that technical stuff. But other than that, there was no really, as far as, like, equipment hurdles, other than nothing else, it's just going up there and playing. But sometimes in your mind you're thinking, holy shit, we're recording a live album. Sometimes that runs through your mind in the beginning, during the duration of the set, and you can't let that get to you because then you just think too much. So we pretty much just let loose. But other than technical and trying to set up the whole mobile system and whatnot, there wasn't really any hurdles.
So were any of the other guys nervous doing it too?
I think we all were deep down inside, but we just weren't. It was just in the back of our heads. Because you want to make the live album sound as best as you can, but also live at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. And I feel like half of the Death Angel experience is the live show, and you guys have always been great about bringing young bands on tour. Which young bands are you into right now?
Oh, man. You know what? In this day and age, there are so many young bands, it's hard to keep up on who's good, or what's out there. The good thing about it is there's a lot of bands out there, a lot of kids who start bands and they want to play either rock or metal. That's a good thing. The flip side to it, there's so much it's hard to keep up. But since we had some downtime in San Francisco after recording the new record, I had a chance to go check out a few shows who I really like. Holy Grail would be one of them, and Ex Mortis is another one.
Oh yeah.
And who's the other band? We saw Cauldron. They were good. And man, there's just so many. But I do like the guys in Battlecross. We've toured with them before, and they're a great band, and their new album's pretty sick.
Right on, right on. And kind of going off what I was mentioning before, being that half of the Death Angel experience is a live show, Death Angel has always been one of the bands that, despite getting older, and especially from your generation, you've been able to keep the energy as intense as your music. How are you able to pull that off?
Oh, man. You want the long question or the short question?
Hey, whatever you want.
I mean, it's a long answer or a short answer. Well, it depends. I mean, I've talked about it. We joked about this and talked about it amongst members. Maybe it's because we're still in the struggle. You know what I mean? Just I guess, not to talk about money, but we make enough to keep going. You know what I mean? Maybe because the success didn't really hit us. You know what I mean? It seems like a lot of bands who do have success. Nothing against them. I'm not in their shoes, but I could just kind of assume that once comes success comes like a little laziness. The fire gets goes out a little. I don't know. It could be anything, but for us, it's just. I guess we're still into it. Musically, we're still into it as musicians. We still love the jam. We still want to write and progress and be better musicians. But maybe in the back of the head is, the struggle of life. That vibe. You're still struggling to make it in this world, so that kind of feeds into the writing.
Absolutely, because at least as a fan, what I notice is that a lot of the bands that have been around as long as you have and are as popular, if not more, as you guys, is that they'll play the music and they'll let the music do the talking, and just hope that fans are just going to devour it without kind of working hard for the setting. And at least every time I've seen Death Angel, you guys are working the stage like you're all in your 20s.
Well, luckily we still can, And two, all five of us, we're into the music that we write, which is a good thing. We love to go out there and record, write, and play. And also another thing, maybe, like I said, in the back of our heads, is just we play like this is it, because one, it could be taken at any time from you, this band. Life's too short, no one promises you tomorrow, and, as with this year has been pretty bad year with passings of a lot of, musical heroes like Lemmy, Bowie, and, Glenn Frey from the Eagles. So I guess that just feeds into our vibe where, let's go out there like it's our last hurrah and just write the best music we can. If it's going to stop, at least we could look back and go, man, we gave it our all and we wrote some good shit.
That's a great attitude to have, and it definitely shows.
Yeah, thanks, man. I mean that's how we think. Other bands think differently, but that's just our mindset right now. And when you have that positive mindset to go out there and crush and, write the best that you can, put all your heart and soul into it, and because once you write a record and record a record and your live show, you go out there and put the best, whether it's going to get recorded, whether either on CD or vinyl or even your live show, even on YouTube or whatnot, those crappy iPhones, it's in the history books. You can't take it away, So it's one of those, once you put it out there, it's out there, at least you could look back and go, man, that was good times, and these songs are killer, and look at this show, that was awesome. You don't want to look back and go, man, we look bummed out. You don't want to do that. So plus, having a positive energy, what you get, what you give. How about that?
Absolutely. Just getting out what you put into it.
Yeah, so, and the fans seem to be into it, and we're into it. So there's the long answer.
Cool. No, man, that was wonderful. We love stories.
Right on.
Especially, I feel like there's a big divide with some of the older thrash bands and some of the more extreme death metal and black metal bands or what have you. Are there any extreme metal bands that you're into?
Extreme? No, not really. The only one who's really, really into the extreme stuff in our band is our drummer, Will Carroll. I've dabbled into it. Of course, I know. Like when it comes to the Florida death metal scene, I love Obituary because they have a lot of groove.
That counts? Yeah.
What? Yeah, they got a lot of groove. Yeah, and I like Suffocation's effigy of the Forgotten album. I mean, there's certain spurts here and there that I like, but I don't really necessarily follow the extreme. If you want to go back, my original favorite extreme band would be Venom.
Totally.
I mean, it stems off that, but I mean, I'm not saying that there's, I just haven't followed it enough. But it's in my, I would say it's in my radar. I know what's going on. But our drummer Will Carroll, you mention any goddamn death metal band in the planet, he'll tell you everything about it.
Yeah, I could talk to him about Deicide and Marduk for hours.
Dude, be prepared to get schooled, bro.
Yeah, he doesn't fuck around at all.
No, dude. I mean, he loves stuff from like, he knows stuff Deicide, like even bands like Gorguts. I mean, he'll go even. He's one of those guys where I'll tell you this. Look, if you want to know about extreme metal, when we're on tour, we play with a lot of bands, local bands, and a lot of local, bands from that area come to our shows, and they hand us CDs of their demos and whatnot. And Will collects everything. Like, he'll have a stack of CDs, and when he gets home and he has one day of hanging out, he'll listen to every single demo start to finish without skipping a song.
Man.
Yeah. And he goes, man, there's some crappy ones, but there's some good ones out there. But, he knows a lot about bands from other regions of the world. Oh, yeah, I remember that band. I have their CD. It's killer.
Wow.
I have their demo. Yeah, he listens to everything. He doesn't skip a song.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how he does that with every single CD and vinyl he buys.
That's unreal.
Mhm. And demos.
Yeah. Well, to close out here, I kind of want to give you a two-parted question.
Sure.
I want to ask you what's your favorite part about Death Angel, and what's the most difficult thing about Death Angel?
Oh, dude, I have one answer for both of them.
Okay.
The traveling.
Really?
I love the traveling, but it wears you down. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's cool. We get to go out there and play to all the fans and see our friends around the world. That's the fun part. But at the same time, it's like, it really, we ain't 20 no more, and it's really tiring, so you got to adjust. I mean, it's one of those things, you go out on the road, you want to come home. You're at home, you want to go back on the road, But, there's a lot of ups and downs in being in a band, especially Death Angel. I mean, there's a lot of, like, pros and cons, as you would say. So I kind of sum it up as, we've gone through some bad stuff, but, I'd like to focus on more of the good stuff, because everyone talks about the bad stuff. No one talks about the good stuff. But if you put your energy towards all the good stuff you accomplish, even the small ones to the big ones, man, then that outweighs all the negative stuff that comes along with being in a band.
Well, I'm glad we got to talk about some of the good stuff then.
Yeah, man. Yeah, so I can't wait for you guys to hear the new record, dude.
Definitely stoked to hear it. It's on my radar for sure, and I'm going to hear it within the rest of the week.
Cool, man. Christian, any more questions? Because I could keep going, bro.
We got more than enough here, Ted. Thanks so much for your time.
Thanks, Christian. And